What's up, everybody?
Welcome back to Mile Higher Podcast, where we take your mind a mile higher. And today on episode 82, we are going to be talking about the Bohemian Grove finally.
Yes.
And the Bohemian Club.
Yes.
Really interesting topic. And we've mentioned it so many times on our podcast, and we're always like, oh, we got to do a whole episode on it. We've got to do a whole episode on it. We never have.
Here we are.
So here
finally doing one.
We are.
The mystery of Bohemian Grove, man. Because there's a lot of stuff to dig into with this one. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into things. But before we do, we want to thank our sponsors for today's episode. We've got Calm, Upstart, Snow, and Stamps.com sponsoring today's show. Thanks so much, guys. But let's go ahead and jump into woke news for today. The first story is India attempted to land their probe, their Vikram probe, on the south pole of the moon, and they got so close to doing it. Well, the probe did make it to the moon, but literally like a mile above the surface of the moon,
right before they're about to land,
they completely lose communication with this thing.
Yeah, and they don't know why,
which is devastating. No, they don't know why. Just like all of a sudden they're like, everybody's getting ready to celebrate. Can you imagine
it really sucks.
What the control room must have been like? I mean, there was like some clips of it that came out, and just like as soon as they lost communication, everybody just looks
this was like a big
out.
Deal for India.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, they were trying to join, the rest of the countries, which there's only a couple, including us, who have actually landed successful on the moon. It's actually a lot harder to do this than I think a lot of people think. Because we've done it a couple of times, but in reality, it's extremely hard to put something into space, for one, and two, successfully navigate it to like the moon or even another planet one day. But yeah, they lost complete control of it, because the plan is that this probe was going to land on the surface, and then there was a rover that they had in there. So not only was it just like a probe, it was a super expensive rover. I mean, we're talking millions and millions, maybe even billions of dollars they put into this thing.
That sucks.
And they have no idea as of today. Like, this happened, I think, yesterday or the day before, and they still have no contact with this thing at all.
Oh man,
which is just
what
sucks.
A disappointment.
Yeah. And I mean,
that could have been really cool. Who knows what it could be.
I mean, there might even be people's jobs on the line here, like maybe somebody messed up, or
maybe. I mean, it's hard
because it went off like the path of like the last second. It just veered off like the actual what the proposed plan or the planned location for the landing was. So yeah, that really sucks for them, because recently too, in April, Israel tried to land on the moon, remember? Right. It crashed. They didn't make it. It was unsuccessful. So
at least this was a little better than that.
Yeah, they got like 95% of the way there, but they haven't completed the mission, because
it's so hard. God. And it's just to the moon. It's just to our closest thing.
Planetary body.
Yeah.
And to think that we are like, oh, we're going to go to Mars and things like that, or go beyond into the
It doesn't
solar
sound
system.
as hard as it clearly is to do.
Oh, yeah.
But doesn't it make you seeing how hard it is for them to do? Like, it makes you wonder how we were able to do it so easily on the first try in the 60s.
And multiple times. And then why haven't we gone back if it was that easy?
Yeah. And I'm not saying it was faked. We have no idea.
No. And I mean, people say,
I don't think it was faked.
Official reasons, because it's just expensive.
It is interesting to think about it. Yeah. It is.
If we never went in the first place. But
yeah. Well, I mean, it was pretty easy for them, and they live streamed the whole thing. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, that's
it was
a whole
like the
other
60s
thing.
too. I don't know. It's just wild to me.
It is wild, and yet we lost. How does that even work? We live stream, like Neil Armstrong on the moon, but yet these guys in 2019 can't even maintain just communication with the damn thing.
I know, and what? I know. It sounds kind of weird.
What the hell, man? What's going on? So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, as of right now, no communication, and it could have crashed. It might have landed successfully, and they just can't talk to it. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that. The next story, though, is pretty, I don't know. This kind of came out of left field. I didn't really see this coming, but it makes a lot of sense, really, that they're doing this. But essentially, a criminal complaint was filed in Los Angeles federal court on September 4th. A 28-year-old Hollywood Hills man named Cameron James, I believe his last name is Petit, is how you pronounce that?
Maybe it's Petit. Who knows?
Petit, whatever. Piece of shit should be what his last name is. No, but basically the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, went after him because he allegedly sold Mac Miller, the rapper, drugs that were laced with fentanyl. That led to his death, essentially. So they're holding him accountable for his death and charging him accordingly. which this is something that they've started doing in recent years because of the fentanyl crisis in America, because it's like killing so many people.
It's so horrible.
It's so potent and just dangerous.
Yeah, Janelle was telling us earlier she's heard of cases where police officers just smell it or like inhale it and have gotten injured or even died.
Yeah, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like 100 times more powerful than morphine.
Isn't it like a horse tranquilizer, or am I just completely wrong about that?
Yeah,
isn't it some type of
it
tranquilizer?
can be used for that. Yeah, I mean it's
intense.
There's a reason why they like put it on Percocets and things like that, because it has the similar effect.
But this is good to see, like, some accountability on a big case like this for Mac Miller, you know?
Right.
Because a lot of people will see this and, you know, maybe people will be more careful with what they're dealing out.
I mean, if you're going to deal drugs, you better be dealing responsibly, you know? And obviously that doesn't happen usually. But
it makes sense now, though, because remember we talked about it when it originally happened, when Mac died on the podcast. I remember doing it as one of our intro topics, and we were like kind of confused about how exactly, but this makes so much sense.
No, it absolutely does. So Cameron is in jail, being held without a bond, waiting his trial, and he's facing up to 20 years for distribution of a controlled substance.
They're cracking down on that.
Drug trafficking charge. Yeah. Well, that's what the DEA is saying, is they're like, we're going to come after everybody that's dealing any sort of drugs in general, but especially drugs laced with fentanyl, because
it's just so deadly.
Fentanyl mixed with anything else is just a deadly concoction, nasty. Which is how Mac Miller died. But what's interesting, though, is that through this investigation, they have obtained text messages through search warrants and things like that, and they've released like messages between Mac Miller and him the day before he actually got these pills that ultimately led to his death. And he ordered them up and stuff. And I mean, he was doing pretty much every drug in the book, but
and drinking too.
But Cameron claims he had no idea that they were laced when he sold them to him. So he's like, I'm not guilty of this because I didn't know, which maybe he didn't know.
Yeah. And at the same time, I do kind of feel for him in a way, like 20 years is a long time, and it could have been a big mistake. Like he could have gotten it from someone else not knowing.
And he could potentially go away for that long because he actually does have prior drug charges already. So
I feel like 20 years is kind of excessive
for drugs.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the death
but now
here.
You're looking at it almost as a murder case.
Mac Miller probably wouldn't have died if he had taken pills that weren't laced with fentanyl. That's essentially what the story is here.
No, I mean, it makes sense. It does. It's a lot. 20 years, that's a lot.
But this is interesting because this kind of makes you might think a little bit differently about Cameron. So in Instagram messages obtained by the DEA, Cameron clearly voices feelings of guilt for what happened to Miller.
Really?
But he had no admission that he realized the drugs were counterfeit.
So he knew. Oh.
He quote unquote said, I think I should probably not post anything just to be smart.
Oh, I see.
Quote unquote, I'm going to get off the grid, move to another country. This was right after Mac Miller died. I am not great.
Gosh. So
most likely
totally
I will
knew.
Die in jail, he wrote in another.
Oh,
so
yeah, dude.
So that just shows you that he could have known that these were not.
Wow.
That this could have happened. And that's what they're alluding to.
Geez, he could technically you could argue that he could have poisoned him almost,
Yeah, totally. I mean, it makes sense.
Wow.
So the federal government's cracking down on this, and I think he's going to end up going away for a long time for this.
Damn.
But rightfully so, man. I mean,
no, definitely.
Drug dealer or not, whether you're
I was
who does
questioning
drugs,
the amount of time. Is 20 years fair? I don't know. I think some sentences are a bit much. I think that he needs to do time for sure, but I think you can learn a lesson in a shorter time than 20 years personally.
Well, yeah. And I mean, God, like lately I've been watching so many jail shows, all the different reality shows on prison these days. And like, prison's just such a horrible place that it just ruins people. It's not rehabilitating anybody.
No.
And
that's true.
For people that do, go to prison for drugs, they're usually put in with a bunch of other people that have done a bunch of other crazier things, which ends up just, in the end, fucking up even more than when you went in. So
and there's hella drugs.
And there's
in jail,
drugs. Yeah, so. that's the big thing too. It's not a drug-free zone in prison at all. So
no, it's not.
Is that really the right way to go? Is there another way for him to repay, this debt that he has? So
I mean, this is really good. This is definitely good to see on a large scale someone go down for this, because people need to understand how serious
sets an example.
It is.
It's
just definitely sets a big example on a public stage.
Especially poisonous drugs, essentially toxic drugs that will kill you. you're going to go to prison for it. You're going to get caught. And
so wild.
so, I mean, that's the good thing to that, I guess, is that they're really cracking down on that. But
okay, this next story, we really wanted to talk about this.
I'm sure all of you have heard this because
it actually was everywhere this week, but I still wanted to talk about it.
It's so ridiculous.
We heard about it before the mainstream got their hands on it, and then I was like bummed out because like everyone started reporting on it.
It was on all the late shows and stuff.
Yeah, it was on, I think, all 3 late shows. I don't even know if Kimmel's on yet, but it was on like The View and
Colbert talks about
ABC,
it. Stuff,
yeah. But there is a Catholic school that has decided to now, in 2019, folks, ban Harry Potter because they cited there is a risk of conjuring evil spirits with real magic. Their concern is that if the books are read out loud, that there's actual real spells inside and that it could possibly possess students in the school.
Yeah. What do you think? Which I mean, on the flip side, I mean, it is a Catholic school, so I do sort of understand like him thinking that, because apparently this reverend, it's a pastor at the school, he apparently what makes you just like one day decide, oh, let's ban Harry Potter?
I feel like he's a little late to the game,
or just like a little paranoid maybe or something. And apparently he reached out to exorcists in Rome, even in the United States, and apparently they agreed with him that children should not be reading Harry Potter books because of the
spells,
ability to become possessed. Or
so when they say like blah 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 trosa.
Well, yeah.
What do they say in the Harry Potter movies? Like something
Leviosa. I know expecto patronus.
Oh, there's
is the
so
one
many
that
people
I know.
are like screaming at their thing, like, you idiots.
I know the killing
nothing.
spell. Avada Kedavra or whatever. I think it's like Avada Kedavra.
Oh, isn't that what he uses on like?
That's like when Voldemort's like, or the Death Eaters. I'm kind of a Harry Potter fan, if you can't tell.
Kind of.
Yeah. But no, but the other part of this too is not just that they could conjure spirits and stuff, but just, and this is what happened in the past too, is that it glorifies witchcraft and the occult and magic and any of this stuff is evil.
They don't like anything related to like pagan or Which this was, remember when Harry Potter first came out, this was like a huge thing. I mean, maybe you didn't hear about it because you weren't I didn't.
religious or in the religious community, but like
I was just young, so I probably wasn't paying attention
pastors
to the
everywhere were
news.
like, do not let your kids read.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big deal, man.
So why is he just reigniting this now?
I don't know. That's what's weird about it.
Is this the first time they've like banned it from a school or something?
Maybe they've had some possessions at their school or something.
Doubt it.
Which I don't understand. It's not like Harry Potter is that dark even. It's not like there's some crazy shit happening in it.
Settle down. It's like a mother
They're like
wrote
levitating
them.
shit and like riding broomsticks around. Like, come on. This isn't that crazy.
I know. It's so funny though.
Yeah.
I love seeing what an issue to really, put your foot down about Harry Potter books. Really picking the hard issues out there. Good job, sir.
Can you imagine being that kid at the school that's like halfway through the series and then he comes back to school and he goes to get like the goblet of fire and it's not there. Yeah. He's like, fuck.
And his mom's like, we read the emails. We know. We know all about Harry Potter. You cannot have those.
So he just can't finish the story. That sucks.
It's like, damn, he'll never know what happened.
Yeah.
Well, let's all pray for those kids. And let's move on to our first sponsors for today.
As most of us have found out the hard way, including myself, getting into debt is easy, but getting out is hard, especially if your FICO score isn't great. Sky-high interest rates can make it incredibly hard for you to break out of that revolving debt cycle. Thankfully, now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt, which I know for me personally, if I had known about Upstart a few years ago, when I was still digging myself out of credit card debt, I would have most definitely went and gotten an Upstart loan because of that smarter interest rate. Because if you don't have great credit, then you get slammed with very high interest rates, which may even put you into debt more than you already are. What's great about Upstart is they go beyond your traditional FICO score or credit score when assessing your actual credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter interest rate, which is great. So they don't ding you on the credit part of the application. Upstart believes you're more than just a credit score. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes without affecting your credit score. The best part is that once the loan is approved, most people get their funds the very next business day, the next day, which is great. Over 200,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards, student loans, fund their wedding, or to make a large purchase. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked #1 in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/milehigher to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and it won't affect your credit, which is the best part. That's upstart.com/milehigher.
So if you follow me on any of my social media, you know that I love to take a bath pretty much every night before bed. And one of my favorite things to do when I take this bath is use a calm meditation, one that is focused on sleep, because I know as soon as I get out, I'm going to get in my nice warm bed and drift off to dreamland. What I have realized since I've started having a bunch of health issues related to my autoimmune disease and whatever else is going on, sleep is one of the most vital things that you can give your body. I notice a huge difference if I don't get at least 8 hours-ish of sleep. It can affect your cognitive functions during the day, how you're feeling overall. Sleep is one of the most vital things in your life. And that's why we have partnered with my all-time favorite app, Calm. This is the #1 app for sleep. I use Calm not only for sleep, but for meditation in general. Whenever I need a moment of peace or I need to just center my brain, it's very hard to meditate. And Calm has a bunch of guided meditations that can help you learn how to actually do the practice of meditation, because it's very hard to completely clear your brain. But they don't only offer meditation, they also offer a variety of tools to help you sleep. They have soundscapes and over 100 different sleep stories narrated by different soothing voices, so you can find one that you like. So if you want to seize your day, make sure you get your Z's at night with the Calm app. Right now, Mile Higher listeners can get 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/milehigher. That's calm.com/milehigher. 40 million people have already downloaded the Calm app. Find out why at calm.com/milehigher.
All right, let's get into the secrets of the Bohemian Grove. First thing I want to say, though, is just that there is a lot of bullshit surrounding this topic, unfortunately. And it can be very hard to find the truth about what's actually happening there. But I think we've done a decent job of getting the facts around like what is going on there, as well as like obviously what's the theories about it, you know, what's the conspiracies about it, because that's a huge part of this topic as well. But, you know, pretty much everything in here is factual for the most part.
Yeah. So. There's a lot of stuff, though, that's reported on wrong, or it's just reported with a bias, or
it's like
not
people,
based on
I went
anything.
there, I
it's
saw this.
Baseless claims, yeah. So,
hearsay.
Yeah. There's a documentary, too. The top documentary on it, which is the only documentary on it, right? Is the one.
I mean, there's nothing like really professional, because it's complete secrecy, right? This thing's completely secret, so you're not allowed to record it. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's a very secret thing.
So there's no documentaries about it other than people who have busted through and like snuck into it. Yeah, exactly. And recorded what they saw, which, you know, we'll talk about that.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
When Alex Jones was a young man, he broke in there and made a documentary out of it.
He did.
And it was an interesting documentary. I got to give it to him. It was pretty interesting, but there was some major bullshit in it. Like there was some stuff that was just wrong, incorrect reporting. Like we were just fact checking as we go. We were like, no, this is not right. This is not right. But he did get some interesting undercover footage.
Yeah. That's completely authentic, which we'll show you.
It's definitely. So there was some interesting stuff in it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into all the really juicy stuff, let's talk a little bit about like what Bohemian Grove is. Like, if you've never heard of this before, you're probably like, what the hell are you talking about? So essentially what Bohemian Grove is that it's essentially like a retreat for the wealthy and the powerful men of the United States. And it happens every June or July for 2 weeks. It's a 2 weeks like get together.
Boy Scout camp for rich guys.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's like a summer
literally
camp.
Boy Scouts though, because it is men only, literally. Only men are allowed.
Yes. They're only allowed, as far as like the guests and members of this Bohemian Club is what it's actually called. That this group, the secret society, is really what it is. Much like the Freemasons or, you know, other things like that.
So a lot of these people that are in these clubs are in multiple clubs. They're in the Freemasons. No?
Well, I don't think you can be in multiple ones.
Really?
But, well, actually, no. I'm sorry. That's incorrect. I just remembered George Bush. The
Yeah, I was
Bush
gonna say,
family is
I
in
know
Skull
that-
and Bones too.
I was gonna say they're in multiple
Sorry.
things.
Yes, it's Skull and Bones.
All
So
right.
you can be in multiple, which
But
is
the
even
Bushes
weirder.
are in this.
But this is more of like, it's a membership club, but I don't know
Kinda
if they
based on,
really
like, being
do.
elite and rich.
It's kind of the way that I've kind of like come to know it as is this almost like country club type situation. It's like a country club camp
for
where
the richest. It's like the richest, biggest country club. It's like a world country club.
right. You know how like the UN comes together? This is like their version of it, except it's like a fucking
Off the books type of
crazy
bullshit,
get together that happens at Bohemian Grove in Sonoma County, California, actually. And the area that they go to is in California, they have redwoods, which if you've never been to the redwood forest in California, it's
Gorgeous.
absolutely beautiful.
To
I went
the
when I was really young.
forest. Isn't that in the
Gulf
song?
Stream
Yeah.
waters.
Yep.
This
That's
land
it.
was made for you. And,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's part of America. It's one of our most
And that's
beautiful
one of the-
areas. So of course they're like, yo, let's make our little hangout, our little camping trip in there.
In this beautiful forest.
Yep.
And the person that owns it's actually private property. That's why they're able to like keep the public out of it. It's 2,700 acres. That's a lot of land that they have.
That's huge.
And, you know, some of the locals are upset because it's a lot of land that could be used for everybody.
Yeah.
And why does the 1% or the
Mm-hmm.
elites get to control all of this land and keep it from everybody else?
Yeah, there's a ton of protest actually in this area. The locals go out and they protest it every year when the Bohemian Grove event happens.
Stand outside and
Yep, and they can't get in. There's like major security, which we'll talk about. But
yeah, exactly. So they have this giant campground, essentially is what it is. And they have all of these different grounds within it. It's this giant facility pretty much that they built in there. And
it's
all
really
these,
private behind all those trees.
yeah,
I mean, it's a thick
perfect
barrier.
place to have a secret hangout.
Exactly.
You know?
His like,
You can't
look
see
into
it.
trees, you can't see so far. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see it unless you're like in the area that they're
Mm-hmm.
in. So they have all these campgrounds and they have all these kind of weird names that they've called them, like Mandalay, Los Angeles, Isle of Avenues, and Silverado Squatters, just to name
Silverado
a few.
Squatters.
It's just like goofy names, I guess is what
Mandalay.
you could say. But in order to be invited into this Bohemian Club or this secret society, you have to be invited directly by the club. So they have to extend the invite to you, or you can come to the Bohemian
So you
Grove.
can't apply. I can't apply. Well, I'm a woman, so I definitely couldn't apply.
Definitely not. Otherwise, you come as a guest to the Bohemian Grove, the get together, with somebody else. And apparently, the initial joining fee is like $25,000, which doesn't seem like that much for how rich a lot of these people
for
are.
them, that's like a drop in the bucket.
Right.
Yeah, they're like,
I mean,
whatever.
that's a lot to any of us. That are
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot.
I would never pay 25 grand to join any club. Like,
But we've seen there's like clubs in New York. Remember there was God, I can't remember what we saw. I think we saw it on Vice, but it was on that show with on Viceland.
yeah.
Who's the rapper? 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz does a show on Viceland and he like goes and tries all these really fancy rich people things and he joined this like exclusive club in New York and the membership
gentleman's
fee
club,
to
yeah.
start was like 50 grand or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
It was double this.
Yeah.
So it's really not that much
No.
for a really rich club.
Right, and-
Because all these clubs
Yeah.
have membership fees.
Totally.
God, I guess once you're just rich enough, you're like, you don't mind being suckered like that. You're like, whatever, I'll pay your membership fee.
Well, it's also like a status thing too. You know,
Yeah.
like part of it is I have actually a personal experience with this a little bit because
Oh yeah.
my grandpa is actually
It's a very funny man.
he's a funny guy because it makes so much sense to me now that I'm older and I understand this stuff that he got involved with this. So my grandpa is actually there's something called the Elks, which is just like a a club that you join. It's kind of a similar fraternal type situation.
Yeah.
Kind of secretive. They have their little elk lodges everywhere, but it's like a pool hall. They're like drinking beer and hanging out. It's like a socialization type
totally.
experience. But he also went and joined the Freemasons. Like he went and became a Freemason, and he has I think he said he was like a 22nd degree Freemason. So they have like they have a hierarchy of like order within the Freemasons, and he's like and I started like asking him about it, and he doesn't say anything about it. Like he won't talk about the rituals or any of the initiation stuff you have to go into.
It's intense. I went through a sorority. I'm sworn to secrecy.
Yep.
But he's got this
Janelle's
ring
in the
that's
same
really
sorority
cool.
as me,
Yeah,
so
that's
we
right.
know the secret.
Oh yeah,
knows
no,
the
that's a great.
secrets.
I was gonna say the sorority or fraternity is same type of situation.
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
that's what Skull and Bones is, you know.
Yeah, but
a
there's no
fraternity.
cool secrets. Like
Right.
we like to be like, oh yeah, we have like secret rituals and like secret all these things, but we don't really have anything. I can't say them because I've been, yelled at enough. Do not tell anybody this shit. So I am not going to say anything, but it's really not that interesting. You wouldn't care anyway if you knew.
But at the end of the day, it's like an organization you join so that you can socialize, meet friends, network, right? That's what they pitch it to you as. It's a networking tool to network.
Well, we were also pitched definitely with the sorority thing, like this will look good on your resumes that,
Right. Well, that's because the name is well known. Exactly. Yeah. Famous people who have been a part of your organization.
Yeah. Or it can get you a job. Like that was also what we were pitched. Like, there might be someone else in the field you want to go in, get you connections.
Yeah.
I just joined to make friends.
Yeah. We just joined because
I want some friends.
Yeah. We lived in a very small cow town, college town area. And we didn't know neither of us knew anyone when we went in there.
Well, I knew you at least.
Yeah. Well, actually you did know me, but, I knew I would never make friends unless I was forced to engage.
It does feel good to be like a part of a team, that's a sports team or a club, or, feeling like you're a part of something that other people aren't necessarily a part of. Like, I think it's like that.
It's an instinctual
sisterhood
thing.
type of thing. Like you know what I mean?
It's instinctual if you think about it. Like you grew up in a family and you want to be a unit. So it makes sense.
It's just now that I'm older looking back at it, like, I'm like, oh my God. Like you have to pay membership fees, and it's like
it's all the political bullshit you got to deal with. Once you get into it, it's like, this isn't just about this. This is about, who's who and who's got the power and who, who's controlling this and whatever, and status and reputation is what it becomes about. Ultimately, it's an egotistical type of thing in a lot of senses.
In a lot of ways.
For some people, I mean, obviously people are in it for the right reasons and some aren't, but that's
I made
essentially
like
what it
5
is.
solid forever friends out of it, so it was a good thing for me. But it's definitely not for everyone, and you're not missing out on anything if you didn't do it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you're sworn to secrecy, right?
Yeah.
And you have to, you got to maintain that, and
ours is a lot less intense than this. Like, God, people aren't like coming after you if you spill the sorority secrets.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, I hope
your life's not on
What
the
are they
line.
going to do to me now?
No.
Charge me a fee or something?
well, now you can just Google it. Pretty much,
but I'm not going to do that because you guys don't care. That's why. And you trust me, that's nothing good.
Well, and, keep it special for the people out there interested,
Yeah.
I bet we have some Sigma Kappas out there actually listening, maybe, or some other.
Yeah, shout out to
Greek
any Sigma
people.
Kappas or any Greek people.
I honestly kind of hate myself.
I mean, as somebody that didn't participate in that, it does intrigue me a little bit.
I just hate being like, oh yeah, we were in part of this this little club. Like, I don't know. I always feel bad because I know.
But you don't feel bad when people are a part of like a team or a
sports team or something.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I mean,
I guess.
You pay dues to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, and I guess you do have to try out for that as well too. No, that's a good point. That's
you
a good
absolutely
point.
do.
And all sororities are different. Some do more than others, and some are lame, some are good.
I mean, at that time in my life, it was like perfect, but.
So yeah, I mean, it's a good example, kind of to help put into perspective like these different clubs and societies, and this is kind of the same way. And just
it's kind of weird though. It's just strange having secrets and stuff.
The secrecy thing is weird, and that's what people are protesting about, is the fact that there's complete secrecy about what they're doing, what the people discuss. Because like as I'm about to tell you, there's like the people that go there are like really, really well-known famous individuals that have a lot of impact on the planet. So obviously people are like, what the hell are these people doing there? So that's why they're protesting. They want transparency, like they should release what they're doing.
They should be
public. They work for the public outside of the club. So why the hell is it just because they're in this club they can shut us all out?
It's not like they don't do anything there, which that's what they claim. They claim that
it's for fun.
It's totally for fun. There's some quote that they use. I'm forgetting what it was. We'll get to it. Okay.
But just before we move on to the members, I just want to say the wait list for the club is apparently 20 to 30 years. And obviously no cell phones are allowed. And
20 to 30 years.
How does that even work? Like, you got to like prove yourself till you're like 40 and then the old geezers let you in. Like,
that's
how does
insane.
That work? Yeah, it's kind of wild. But I think most of the members are like by association and family members and things like that.
Do you think it's possible that like dads will bring in like their son when they're like at a certain age to like start kind of going through the steps to become so by the time it is 20 or 30 years you're like ready to go.
Maybe that's honestly I bet that's what it is.
That's interesting.
So you can bring in women and children, but they have to leave at night. as soon as like the sun goes down, they all leave because that's when the shit goes down.
All right, lights out, ladies.
Kind of sketchy.
Isn't
like
it?
It makes me think they're doing some like sketch shit they don't want their wives to know about.
They're going wild, man. It's like it's elite gone wild at night. Like that's what it is.
What? That is such a weird rule.
Yeah, so all the women
your wife
go
out by night,
and then they even like inside of the Bohemian Grove area. So if you think about this setup, it's literally like a summer camp. They've got the dining hall. They got like a little place for this activity, or like they got all the different cabins and bungalows or whatever.
Yeah, they all have little names. It's totally like a campsite.
Exactly, a campground. Yeah,
it's like boys Scout camp. Sorry.
Yeah. So they actually have workers there that are employed by the club to work the dining hall and cook and clean and all that and everything, housekeeping and everything, servers, and they allow women to be hired. They didn't for a long time, but eventually they did. But they like drew a line. They're like, you cannot cross this line.
Yeah, they were getting a lot of shit for it too. They they were not wanting to do that. That took a lot for them to finally decide. And then what did they give them? Just jobs in valet and the kitchen.
Yeah. So they're still not allowed to like be in a lot of
no, you don't get an important job. No.
Yeah, exactly.
And why would you want to work there? Come on. Like, who's like, of all the places, as a woman, I want to work for the Bohemian Grove.
That's what I was just about to ask you. Is it random people who are like applying for this?
It's locals.
So it's not like, oh, Hillary Clinton's working in the kitchen this night.
No, it's not elite.
They
have like average
hairnet on. Like,
they have like, average
Hillary, get on
like
the soup.
us. Yeah.
We got sloppy joes tonight, everybody. I heard you like them extra sloppy.
Extra slop.
Extra sloppy. If you've seen that movie,
hilarious.
But let's talk about the people here, because this is just where it starts blowing your mind. So this secret retreat, people, obviously, because of the people that go there, people are questioning the motives and speculating about what they're actually doing there, because literally the memberships lists include every Republican president since 1923, as well as some Democrats, many cabinet officials and CEOs of large corporations, including the major financial institutions, military contractors, oil companies, banks, including the Federal Reserve, surprise, and national media, as well as artists, actors, musicians are also invited as well. They got to get the fun folks in there too. You got all like the stiff folks, and then they invite all of these. They love musicians, apparently. If you want an invite, if you're a great musician, they'll invite you. Like, I bet John Mayer could go there.
What?
Listen to this, Janelle.
Really?
What?
Mickey Hart has been to Bohemian Grove.
No, don't tell me that.
Yes. I was like, no way. Of course he did.
What?
Yeah, like tons of musicians, well-known actors, have gone to
Bing
Bohemian
Crosby,
Grove.
Mark Twain.
Also were there at one time. So tons of people go there, like more than I think we even realized, because it's like 2,000 people that go this every year.
Well, let's slow down for a second and think about this. Think of how many important players on a world stage attend this. We have military contractors, oil companies, banks, national media, and then all of these CEOs of large corporations that control pretty much everything, cabinet officials, and then we have politicians, pretty much every president, at least the Republican side, pretty much all of them, and then a lot of Democrats too. That's pretty much everyone. Am I missing someone?
No, and I mean...
Maybe the Pope should have been there.
But
like, seriously, this is clearly something important happens here. These people aren't just all getting together because they are buddies.
But that's not what people say. Somebody that actually was a former member has been quoted saying the overriding agenda is to get so wasted every day that any reasonable person would immediately call 911 to get help.
What?
That's literally what a former member said. It's just literally it's like just a safe haven for all these people to be out of, because there's no recording there. So these guys, because all these guys can't go out to like bars and clubs and like have huge parties like in public. So this is like a private event. It's like a wild formal for them to all go to and get fucked up and just like act crazy and do wild shit there.
That's insane.
And former members are saying that that's the case. So, yeah.
But they play it off as it's just like crazy boys night, crazy weekend for the boys.
Yeah, literally.
Bohemian Grove is for the boys.
Yeah.
Full send.
No, honestly, like it's definitely that type of atmosphere.
I wonder if anyone chugs there, like Steve will do it.
They bring Steve.
Just double fisting.
What if George
bottles?
Bush can do that? He's like, bitch,
Holy
watch
shit.
this. Chugs a handle of vodka. I wouldn't even want to know. Actually, I've heard George Bush was a crazy frat boy.
I've heard that too.
He was apparently like, what's going on here?
No, we're good.
Right.
Just got a little dark in here.
Oh, okay. No, I don't like this. I don't like this. This just ruined my whole
it's
vibe.
Fine. It's good. It's perfect, actually.
No, I hate it.
It'll be better for the video.
Yeah, it's better for our space background.
Is
your
it though?
space background?
Okay, fine. All right, fine. Anyway.
But literally the mainstream is like, says that this is just a giant team building exercise. That's how they like say, that's the official like word for what it is pretty much.
Team building?
It's team building.
Team building as in controlling the
All right,
world.
team, how do we control these peasants?
I'm sorry.
I
mean, maybe not every single person there is in on
Yeah, I think
everything.
Mickey's in on the New World Order.
God. I don't know if you people know, but Mickey is part of Grateful Dead, and that's why Josh keeps talking about it, because I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah,
but
I thought it was funny too that
it's
of
really
all people,
weird.
Like,
yeah, that's very strange.
that he would be there like with presidents and things like that.
That just makes me wonder, like, what the hell?
Well, so if you think,
walks of life, so many different backgrounds. It's not like
totally.
Well,
just
if this
politics.
is just a normal thing and it's just a big party, why are they so weird about it? Why is there all this security?
Yeah,
why,
totally.
it's strange.
Mm-hmm.
There's no media coverage on it too, which is so weird.
No,
it's because the media's there.
Yeah, it's because they don't want to be filmed there, obviously, because people will be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, dude. I mean, don't tell me. They probably do get fucked up. They probably do party and stuff there, but they also probably do some wheeling and dealing behind the scenes. They have meetings, very important meetings. It's a safe, private place for them to meet about important things.
And off the record is the main point of this.
Off the record.
Off the record, so they can actually probably do the negotiating, say the things they want to say.
They probably do that in the morning, and then they get fucked up at night.
Full send at night, and then they do politics in the day. Like that's what they do. But that's the thing, is they absolutely deny that there's any business going on there, and that this is all just like a back to nature retreat for the elite. Okay. So, all right, let's talk about where this all started, because this is really interesting as well. So this club, the Bohemian Club, is over 150 years old. It was literally founded after the Civil War. It's that old. And that's what's interesting too about all these clubs and sororities and fraternities, how far back they go, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't like your sorority go back to the 1800s even? Yeah. Like it goes back really far.
I think it's 18.
What is going on in the 1800s that everybody's like, let's start all these secret groups and stuff?
Maybe it's just like a thing to do back then.
No, I don't think so. I think there's like more, I think there's something else at play as far as like getting people to organize into these clubs and things like that. Because if you look even farther back, like if you look at the Illuminati, the secret society of the Illuminati that actually existed was way back, like 100, like over 100, 200, 300 years ago.
I think it was like 500.
Yeah, I think it was like 1500 when it first started.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
So these secret societies have been around for a really, really long time, and came over to the United States when it was starting to be colonized, which makes sense because literally the 1800s was right before the Industrial Revolution, and kind of when civilization moved into modern times or started moving in that direction.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that all these groups of people got together and created these clubs and secret societies as things are starting to unfold. So
sorry, I have to say something real fast. Janelle's playing with beads. You can hear them in the mic.
You can hear them? Yes. Oh, fuck, sorry.
Oh, no, you're all good. But if you've heard this like little like frizzling, like sizzle sound, can you hear it?
I heard
it's kind of like
bit.
sounds like static, but it's
really?
Janelle's beads.
Oh.
She's playing with my anxiety beads.
Yeah,
They're like magnetic
beads. Are really
beads.
doing it for me right
I
now.
Anxiety
no, you're good. You were just every time you hold them up near the mic when you're like
do they make
looking
like
at them. Yeah. No, when you move them though, they kind of make a sound. Yeah, I can hear that.
A little
you guys
bit.
hear that?
It's like a tap.
Sorry,
tiny
guys.
Tap.
This
like
is actually
some ASMR over here.
This is like mind blowing to me, so I'm just over here trying to like.
I know.
It's crazy.
No, I just wanted to.
Well, when you hear this shit for the first time, you're like, "What the hell is going on here?" Like,
I know. So sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Just
you're
know
you're
that
good.
like it's probably picking up the sounds.
Yeah, somebody's.
Right.
Because I started hearing it, I was like, "Wait, is there static in the headphones?"
Shoot.
Like,
Okay, well,
No,
I
you're good.
apologize.
I think
folks.
it was only going on for a little.
Okay. All right.
So this club is old as shit. It was started in 1872 in San Francisco by Henry Harry Edwards, and since 1878, they've been going to Bohemian Grove every summer. So this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Bohemian Grove is nothing new.
No.
And sort of like the idea of when they created it was where Bohemian artists, which like, why is Bohemian in here? Like, because that doesn't mean anything evil or anything like, that's just kind of like, a style per se. I don't know what the right word to say. But But it was just a camp.
I don't know
where
if it's always meant that though.
Bohemian writers and artists would go to relax and just kind of get away from the world and you know, as far as we know, and just hang out essentially. And kind of over time it's evolved, and they kind of built it up more. Obviously it was just like very basic back then. I mean, I'm sure it was nothing crazy. But over time it's
way
been
less
built
members
up.
And it's probably grown so much.
Because like a former member has quote unquote said that it's very rustic. Oh, surprise. And there are scores of camps within the Grove, each with 20 to 50 people. Each camp is unique and has a different cabin or clubhouse. They're all along a main dirt road. They burn firewood to stay warm and generally just host people from other camps or go visit people at the other camps and provide entertainment.
Interesting. How strange.
It's literally like the way that this sounds is just like a kid's summer camp.
Literally like a rich person's summer camp. But like obviously this is the information that they've put out for the most part. Like I'm sure
this is the image they want, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is what they want us to think it all is.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part it is, but then they also do a lot of meetings. I think it's also just a main way for them to meet up, you know? Get all these big people in the same place at the same time every year. It's just like another Bilderberg way, but less formal.
Well, I think also,
they can mingle too and like drink together and get to know each other on a more laid back scale to do business. Evil business, you know.
Well, I think for a long time, like 1872, I mean, there wasn't that much going on like politically back then.
Yeah.
So I think originally this was really just like kind of a bohemian, like back to nature type place for people that were into that, and newspaper writers that adopted this type of bohemian lifestyle. I mean, but then over time, it expanded so into all these crazy elite people going there, and mostly, you know, all of them being men and white for the most part, which I haven't seen any pictures of any black members. I don't know of any names of any black members.
I didn't see anyone. And there's a picture of like all of them. I don't see anyone. Yeah. Did Obama go to these?
No.
No.
So what's interesting is that I don't know how this happens, but the lists get leaked on who goes to these things somehow, which I don't know if they're authentic or not, but I looked through the 2018 one. There's no Obama in there or anything like that.
Yeah.
Nobody, and that's the thing too, is it's not like as crazy as you would think. Like it's not like Bill Clinton was in there. Like,
do you think Trump's there?
I don't know. I don't know if he's ever been there.
Was he listed on one of those lists?
Well, we don't have all of them. We don't have all of them either.
It's leaks.
We only have like 2018. I think they have like 2008. They only have them like every now and then they get a whole, which I don't even know if they're real. Like, let's be real. Like, I don't know if they're real.
Yeah, that's true.
But we do know from like the past that like George H.W. Bush was there.
Yeah,
George
we know
Bush
a lot of the
Sr.,
main people that we mentioned were there.
Former CIA directors.
There's pictures.
Yeah, there's literally pictures of them that have been come out from Bohemian Grove from people that have snuck in there and taken pictures and things like that. Henry Kissinger, General Colin Powell, David Rockefeller, Donald Rumsfeld, George Shultz, and Ken Starr. So just a bunch of really, you know, influential people that have power in politics and military.
Elite, rich people.
And so they all go to this place.
Well, I mean, gosh, with the amount of money and control that all of those groups have, all of those interests that we mentioned, all of those politicians, they can make or break the world. You know, they can make huge decisions. So
especially
I feel like they get together to talk about what's going to happen in the world or what they're going to do next or moves they're going to make.
Well, you'd have to think like, why else would you get together? Like, is it really just to get all fucked up together? Like, come on.
Yeah.
They're busy. They're very busy. Like 2 weeks?
Yeah,
to dedicate 2 weeks of their busy ass life.
Boy Scout camp. That doesn't make any sense.
Like, come on. Like, you need 2 weeks off the record to just fucking take a break. They already go on vacations. They already have vacation
And if they're just taking a break and hanging out, what's up with the like ridiculous security guards? Like they act like the security is like it's Area 51 or something.
Yeah, they have it
not
locked.
Quite that extreme, but it's pretty intense. Like you can't get in there.
They have because of the people that go there, they have Secret Service there. There's like men in black rolling around.
Yeah, because like imagine if there was like a bomb or something.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and God, that many people taken out, like important people in the world, would be crazy.
Is it in the exact same spot every year? Or do they like set it up slightly different so that people aren't like, flying drones over it and stuff?
It's in the same spot.
Same spot, same stages. They use the same things.
They use the same places, but I don't think their location's like ever been revealed. Like, I don't know if anybody knows exactly
where it is.
Unless, well, I guess Alex Jones found it. So.
No, they do know exactly where it is. They just, it's a huge area.
A campground. Yeah.
It's owned by, it's a privately owned campground.
Okay. So right. It's private property.
Yes, it's private property. Yep.
But still, here's what it is. We know the location, we know the camp, but we don't know when the actual retreat is.
Yeah, and we don't know where exactly within it. So I guess someone could like fly a drone around, but it's protected by the trees. That's why they're there. And it's in the summer every year. So it's when the trees are big and fluffy and
completely
you can't
covered.
See through it.
You can't see it from the air.
Yeah, so that's why they do it there. It makes sense. The trees give them so much privacy.
Totally.
Hey, we know that. Trees give you a lot of privacy. We just bought a house with a fuck ton of trees and we have a ton of privacy now.
Yeah. And redwoods are enormous trees too. These are like monstrous trees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, really tall.
Do you think people from other countries are there? Like other elites?
No.
Other countries?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like there's not like the Saudi royalty and that kind of stuff.
That event is called Bilderberg.
Right.
The Bilderberg meeting is the international, essentially Bohemian Grove in a sense. Like that's where everybody gets together from around the world in secret and meets, usually in Europe somewhere. Mm-hmm. That's Bilderberg. That's a whole nother thing we could talk about. But this is just like United States people, like people that are prevalent and powerful in the United States. What's funny is like we're talking about how, they're doing business and stuff, but literally the club's motto is "Weaving spiders come not here."
Yep.
Which basically means that they don't want any business done there or anything like that. It's supposed to be like, get away from all that. Get away from your worries and cares. They don't do official
business. That's why they're not like actually signing contracts or like doing stuff like that, I bet.
As far as we know,
they are meeting and discussing things. It's not like they just don't talk about it at all.
No.
Yeah.
No,
because I mean, when else are they with all these other people that are important,
right,
off the record in person? Because they can't talk on the phone. You can't like chat someone up and talk about what you're gonna do for the New World Order over the phone. Like it can,
or if you're doing
be tapped easily. It's not private. Like they need to meet about serious stuff in person,
where there's no chance of anybody like leaking anything.
Perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Bohemian Grove's also been like a really big political networking tool for Republicans, especially.
Yes.
Like, that's what's interesting too, is it does lean more conservative.
It does.
As far as the people that are invited, which could also be a reason why, why hasn't Bernie Sanders been invited, or like
who on the record gave a quote that they said their favorite speech of all time was at, I think it was Nixon.
Yeah.
It was Nixon.
Yeah, I have that in here. Let's see. It is, he did. So in his memoir, Richard Nixon talked about the importance of his membership in the Bohemian Club. Mm-hmm. He said, "If I were to choose the speech that gave me the most pleasure and satisfaction in my political career, it would be my lakeside speech at the Bohemian Grove in July 1967. Because this speech traditionally was off the record, it received no publicity at the time. But in many important ways, it marked the first milestone on my road to the presidency."
Yeah. Can you imagine what that speech was about, dude? What they have an off the record speech about? It was probably so creepy. If we heard it, we'd be cringing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would love to hear what that speech was about.
Well, and actually what ended up happening with this is after he said this, Reagan actually told him not to run. Like this was when Reagan told Nixon not to run and he was going to go instead. But this was like, he was also considering running, but at this, they like figured out like, no, you're not going to run. I'm going to run.
I'm going to run. And then you can run later.
And
they like made an agreement, like I'll help later on
and there's a picture of them actually together, which is kind of crazy, sitting at a table. Like this doesn't show them going wild or anything. Like during the day, it's a business meeting. They get all
this doesn't look like a crazy drunk frat party right now. No. I'm sure they do it in, in that 2 weeks, they fit it in plenty of time to fuck around.
But you're not going to do that all day, all night. So they have these meetings.
They totally try to cover it as just a big fun party.
Yeah. And at this particular chat, actually, or in 1963, Nelson Rockefeller was there. And he was the picture that, if you're watching, will show you, shows Nixon and Ronald Reagan sitting side by side of Nelson Rockefeller as they're talking about, the future for the country and stuff, which is interesting. So I get why people want transparency, especially if they're going to talk politics and things like that. Like, the hell, they're making decisions in there without the public's knowledge, pretty much. And I mean, Gerald Ford was there. He was invited by another Bohemian member, the founder of Firestone Tires, like all these CEOs that are there. The Koch brothers, of course, they're there.
I'm sure they were there.
Yeah, tons of people. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There's just tons and tons of people. But this is interesting, actually. Dr. Edward Teller actually reserved the grounds in September 1942. He was a club member, and he actually reserved the grounds because, like, when they're not using it, I guess the members can reserve it for things. And this doctor reserved it, and he's actually known as the father of the hydrogen bomb, and literally laid the groundwork for the Manhattan Project there, which is really interesting to think about. And people are like, oh, they didn't actually, like, because some people are like, oh, they founded the Manhattan Project in Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
And, like, on the flip side, it's like, well, he was the only guy there. So was he just, like, in nature thinking about how he's going to destroy, the world? Like, what the hell? He came up with the hydrogen bomb. Like, as a scientist, how do you come up with a bomb that's going to kill mass amounts of people? Like, what is your mindset? And he's in Bohemian Grove,
Yeah, that's really weird.
It's very odd. That he would go there. That doesn't
really make sense.
To think about a hydrogen bomb.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
But I guess that's like such a huge world decision that there would be a lot of people to discuss that with.
Right. Well, and I mean, it kind of leans towards the conspiratorial view that there's evil shit happening at Bohemian Grove, and maybe like that's why he's going there. But this is interesting, actually. Just talking about like what their mentality is, what are the members thinking, their kind of mind state. Actually, a political science professor in 1994 said that a lakeside chat was given, and it was entitled Violent Weakness, which focused on how increasing violence in society was weakening our social institutions. So they do these lakeside chats, which is just a thing they do every year. And they have speakers and different types of people, including scientists, professors like this guy, give a speech about something that's kind of pertinent to like the world view. It seems like it's like clearly they're talking about the world and what's happening. Like they're not just like
100%.
in La La Land all 2 weeks, like at all.
No.
But this is it goes on, is really interesting. So the speaker claimed that to avert further deterioration, we need to recognize that the elites based on merit and skill are important to society. Apparently they got loud clapping. And any elite that fails to define itself will fail to survive. We need boundaries and values set and clear. We need an American-centered foreign policy and a president who understands foreign policy. This is interesting to me, especially for the fact that George W. Bush was there.
Yes.
And this is right around the time that all of the wars really started with the Bushes.
Yep.
And it's really interesting that the message of this chat is that we need an American-centered foreign policy. And literally shortly thereafter, we had all these wars where America's inserting itself in all these countries and regime changes and all these things across the world. And literally they're talking about this at Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, I think they definitely plan out some
discussing. And Colin Powell's there, Donald Rumsfeld's there. I mean, later on, but it's like clearly they're talking about war.
Yeah, obviously. Why else would they be there?
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got to be doing planning there. But the speaker went on to conclude that we cannot allow the unqualified masses to carry out policy. Unqualified masses. So that is interesting to me because it makes me think that they don't want anybody
the public to vote,
or even politicians that come from our side of the table, like Bernie Sanders, people that are
grass-funded.
I
mean, grass-funded. Sorry,
grass-funded.
Funded with grass.
Grass-fed, corn-fed politicians.
No, but
you know what I'm saying?
People that aren't backed by giant corporations, they don't want that.
Right? They want you to be in the club, man. Yep. If you're gonna try to run politics, gotta get in the club.
Yeah,
and
we
follow
basically
the
be
agenda.
A puppet for the elites.
Right. So it's interesting. This can like backs all that up. And apparently this speech was forcefully given and was received with an enthusiastic standing ovation by most members.
Wow.
Can you imagine all these powerful guys like, yes, we must control. We must keep others out.
Idiots must. Yeah. Wow, that's scary. The unqualified masses, though.
Yeah.
That's like the people.
Everyone.
Yes.
But the 1%.
Yeah.
Except for the 1%. Yeah.
Everyone who's not there.
So like we cannot allow them to have a voice because
No.
we would vote for better things for ourselves and,
Right.
not in their interest.
They're going to stop us from furthering our control and domination, essentially.
So that's why they force feed us 2 political candidates.
Yep.
And you have to vote for one. It's so fucking irritating. The system is so messed up.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, how much choice do we really have? We don't have that much choice.
No, we don't.
And how much of it is actually us doing things and actively changing things? Not a lot, it seems. Sometimes it seems like it's kind of predetermined in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah, it really does.
Our elections,
at least the important things,
the corporations. I mean, we have no control over the corporations or what they do, or the CEOs of those corporations.
And no one even wants to talk about getting money out of it.
Yeah.
It's so insane.
It's crazy. It's like we have the stock market and you can buy stock in a company, but that gives you no right to the CEO or what he does or how he conducts himself. It's really crazy to think about. So the bottom line is like from this particular chat, it's apparent that the term elite is a self-identifying term for them. Like they literally refer to themselves as the elites. Like when we call these people that's because that's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what they really are. So
elitists.
So much for your club motto there, guys. Like you're not just like fucking leaving all the cares behind. And that's the thing is I think they repeat a lot of these things because of tradition over the years and stuff, but the meaning of Bohemian Grove has changed a lot. But before we get into the extremely interesting ceremonies and rituals that they conduct, we'd like to thank our last sponsors for today. So if you're like me, you're pretty busy. I mean, I never have time to do all the errands that I need to do. And one of those things that I never seem to have time to do is go to the post office just because of the time it takes to drive there and then wait in line and talk to somebody and finally drop off my packages. And because of the giant hassle of going to the post office and juggling all your packages, hoping not to drop and break anything, that's where stamps.com comes in. They are one of the most popular time-saving tools for small businesses. Stamps.com eliminates trips to the post office as well as saving you money with discounts that you can't even get at the post office. So why would you go when you can save money and print your postage online? Whether you're a small office or a business like I am, where I'm sending packages to customers as well as, fans, things like that, it can be a lot to juggle. And, I have a ton of packages or Amazon returns, all of us people shopping online these days, you got to ship that stuff back. And instead of having to go there and go through all that hassle, you can print out the postage at a discounted rate, often online on your computer. And right now, our listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitment. All you got to do is go to stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and then type in Mile Higher. That's stamps.com. Click on the microphone and enter code Mile Higher to take advantage of that offer. Everyone wants their home to look and feel great. Luckily, Snow makes it incredibly simple. They create trend-proof, beautiful, functional pieces made for how you live. Snow is a company that makes luxury, high-quality essentials for every room in your home, minus the markup. So you're not paying those high-quality luxury prices. They partner directly with master craftsmen to create beautiful, simple products that are made to last, like their incredibly soft, award-winning sheets and fluffy duvets, or luxurious, air-spun cotton towels and robes. Ooh. They also have super durable, dishwasher-safe porcelain dinnerware and wine glasses with titanium enforced stems. What I also love is that they have some of the most amazing sheets you will ever use. They actually sent us some sheets for our bed and they were extremely soft, extremely cooling. That's the main thing, right? Is I can't sleep at night when the bed feels warm or hot or I'm sweating. So these sheets really cooled everything down. They have a high thread count. They're super breathable and just a joy to sleep in. It's literally the home collection of your dreams, priced for your reality. So again, if you're interested in high quality luxury home items, Snow has got you covered. And right now, Snow is offering our listeners $30 off your first purchase of $150 or more when you go to snowhome.com/milehigher. That's SNOWE Home.com/milehigher to get $30 off your first order. Again, visit snowhome.com/milehigher for your special offer today. So what do they actually do at Bohemian Grove besides just party and talk politics, and what kinds of activities or ceremonies that happen? Because this is a secret club. It's like a fraternity. They've got rituals and ceremonies. Well, this is probably one of the most interesting parts of this whole shindig.
It's definitely what makes it really weird.
And this is where, the conspiracy theories go wild, because it is very odd, and it does have a lot of connections to some dark shit. So at the beginning of every Bohemian Grove event every year since 1880, they kick off their little 2-week thing with something called the cremation of care. So this ceremony starts with a parade of men dressed in red hooded robes, some carrying torches. Sounds like another group that I know of. But then some of these guys are carrying a wooden box, basically like a coffin, with the effigy of a human body inside. So fake.
This is really fucking weird.
And what it is, as far as we know, it's a wooden skeleton named Care. And essentially this procession of robed men winds through the camp until they make their way to the side of a lake, which is watched over by a massive 40-foot tall cement owl.
Yeah, dudes, that's for real. You got to look this up if you're listening. The Bohemian Grove owl, just Google images it. It's so big and creepy looking.
Yes.
And it seems almost like they worship this owl.
Yeah, I mean, they literally perform a ritual right in front of it, burning this effigy.
And so this is what Alex Jones, when he snuck in there, got footage of.
Yes, which we'll show you in a minute, actually. But basically what they do is they bring this effigy there, they light it on fire. There's a priest there that's like leading this whole ceremony, essentially, or somebody playing a priest. Maybe not an actual priest.
Right.
But everybody is like gathered around. Everybody that's attending the event actually is watching this go down. Because like when you're watching it, it kind of, if you didn't think it was a ritual, you would think it's just a play. Like you're watching a play, like they're dressed up in costumes and they're doing like a...
It almost sounds like a little show that you'd see at like Universal Studios or
totally.
Disney World or something. The way that when it's playing.
The owl totally reminds me of something from Disney. I was about to say that. It reminds me of like a giant animatron.
Animatronic thing.
Animatron. Oh, wow. Animatronic.
It almost seems like one of those rides where you like, it takes you around into these different rooms, like I forget which one it is that has that where you're like sitting in the little boat thing, and it like
it's
takes
a small
you through
world.
Ooh,
and then like
creepy.
all of a sudden you pop in this room and there's happens to be this tall owl, and there's like a fire and there's like people in robes sitting there and like saying weird shit, because that's literally what it is. The idea is that like Care, the little effigy, gets burned and destroyed because it signifies like leaving all your cares behind, and like you're gonna leave the entire rest of the world out of Bohemian Grove, and you're just gonna go fucking crazy,
interesting,
and have a good time, pretty much.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like an initiation for the weekend or for the.
But there's a lot of people that think that skeleton is actually a real person.
Yes,
they actually do burn.
Because there's like, I tried to look into this more, but apparently there's like, I think it was in like 94 or something. Somebody said that there was somebody that got sacrificed. There's a human sacrifice that took place. And I mean, there was never any proof of it or anything.
It could
but
have at one point. It's been around a long time.
Former members that have said that they do like child sacrifice there and things like that. And just like weird shit that they cover it by saying it's like a wooden skeleton, but it's actually a real human.
Which that's what Alex Jones was saying too. Because in the documentary, he straight up, when he's filming it, he's like, you can hear them screaming. Which I tried to listen to it. I couldn't personally hear it.
But if you listen to it, which, we'll play in a sec, but like, it sounds like a recording, right?
Yeah.
Like the talking and the owl talking clearly.
It literally
it says some weird shit. So we'll play the clip real quick.
Begone, dull care. Fire shall Hail the winds, they carry with thy ducks. Hail fellowship's eternal flame. Once again, midsummer sets us free.
So that is the ceremony, or a bit of it. Essentially they bring light care on fire with the help of the owl in order to, essentially let everybody release their cares. And it's very ritualistic, and I get why people could think that it's something more than just like a play or some like weird
But it
story.
could be, because there's probably meaning behind all of this that we don't understand.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're not a member, so we're not going to fully understand.
And care, that could be a cover story too. You don't know. Care could stand for something. CARE. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put it past these people. I'm sure they're not just having a nice little play.
Right. And like the ceremony is to like
pretty creepy.
And I guess they do kind of worship this owl in a sense. Like the owl is their logo, essentially. It's like
they definitely
their
do.
god
They
in
built
a way.
a huge statue. That thing is massive. Look at it compared to the people on the ground.
Yeah, 40 feet tall.
Huge.
Yeah, it almost looks taller than that. That's really tall.
Yeah.
So they do this ceremony every year at the beginning. And what's interesting is that like, Alex Jones that got the footage of the ceremony actually, he believes that this owl represents the Canaanite god Moloch, which is associated with child sacrifice in the Bible. It's a biblical deity, essentially. But when you actually go back and look at the Bible, it's a bull. It's not an owl.
Yeah.
So he
that's
made that.
What we were saying last night.
Yeah, messed up with that, or I don't know if he tried to.
Yeah.
I think, or he tried to say they're like related, or I don't know.
And then he also tried to say that the Egyptians also worshipped an owl.
Yeah, like saying that. Well, and that's the whole thing, and I guess that kind of leads us into the angle that especially like somebody like Alex Jones makes is the very like it's Christians versus Satan versus good versus evil fight.
Yeah,
and these people are
evil approach to it,
and they're worshiping these false gods and evil deities essentially, and that's why they're doing this thing, and the whole conspiracy goes down the rabbit hole obviously from there, and the New World Order and everything. So
but I mean the owl really doesn't, I don't know if we quite understand why they have that.
No, we don't.
I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure there's definitely a symbol for it, or it's
if you think about it, like an owl is always watching.
Yes,
it can swivel its head all the way around, so it's almost like a the all-seeing eye symbol.
Totally.
And the owl kind of makes sense. It's like it's interesting. There's correlation there.
That actually does make a lot of sense.
Well, and like another conspiracy theorist, David Icke, he came up with this whole thing that if you look at like apparently there's a diagram or something of the campground, and if you draw like really simple lines, there's like natural lines that run through the campground that look like a owl.
Oh wow!
That they actually designed the whole campground to look like an owl, which I mean doesn't mean anything.
I bet they did.
But also that there is
something rich people do.
If you go back, if you look at who, the Canaanite god is, and you go back into history and look at who this owl could represent and stuff, like one of them is, you go back to Babylonian times, like the city of Babylon, which was like destroyed because they were worshiping false gods and things like that, and people were literally sacrificed. Like in the Bible they talk about parents bringing their sons and daughters, shedding innocent blood, the blood of their own sons and daughters whom they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan, desecrating the land with bloodshed. That's literally in the Bible, Psalm 106:34 through 43.
But that's a bull,
right? But this is the bull, right? Not the owl. So there's not a direct correlation. There. But apparently there's another picture of some other Babylonian goddess that had owls next to her that were like protecting her. So the theory is that these guys are like Canaanites, and they're like a part of this ancient religion that worships these false gods that are ultimately, any type of false god in the eyes of Christianity goes back to Satan and satanic cults and rituals, things like that. So that's kind of the short version of that. I mean, there's a lot more to that. But this, I wanted to bring this up because this was kind of interesting, and I can't confirm that this is authentic or not, but I assume it is because he got it from when he snuck in. They hand you a program, right? Yeah. So he got a program in for the ceremony for the cremation of Care, and he points out that on the program itself, the like wooden box where the effigy is looks like a little like skeleton of a child, and I mean, it doesn't look like that to me. It looks like a skeleton. It's a drawing. I mean, or a picture. I don't know what it is.
I can't even really see it.
It's very hard to see. It's very faint, but you can tell like the legs are sticking up, and then like the torso is really small. So he's like, this is clearly a child, representing that they do child sacrifice there. Which maybe, I mean,
that's a stretch.
That's a stretch, but
there's not enough evidence for that, I feel like. But I mean.
And that there's this demon on there named
I wonder
PJ.
if at one point, like, you know, when they started this, they used to actually do human sacrifices. Like, people were savage even 100 years ago. Maybe, I wouldn't be shocked. But maybe eventually they were like, you know, we really can't do this anymore. Yeah. You know, it's going to get out that we're doing this. And the world changed a lot, obviously. And maybe they changed it to this whole thing about care and everything, but they still want to have the ritual cover story of it.
For it, sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're necessarily like still doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it really, I don't know.
I think especially since prior to when Alex Jones went in, which was 2000, was the time that he went in and filmed this. There was previously people that had snuck in because I mean, people have been wanting to know what the hell's going on in Bohemian Grove for a long time,
especially local people.
So like people have tried to sneak in for a long time, and I mean, I think it'd be pretty hard to like be doing that kind of shit and like people not hearing things and like seeing things, weird things, like the screams and things like that, which are clearly from this recording are just like something played over a recorder. Like you can hear speakers, like. The music they're playing there. It sounds like you guys kept saying like a Disney play almost like, like
it sounds like a Disney.
It sounds like, or a Disney ride, or you know, like one of those rides you go to, and it's like playing this thing in animatronics or whatever,
or like a haunted house or something.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, like a staged scene,
show thing. Yeah,
and that's what it seems like. But maybe at one point it was the real deal. Like
maybe now it's just a tradition. It's a ritual, and they do it every year.
But the people say that it's just a ceremony to burn away your worries for the next couple weeks.
I don't know. I feel like there's got to be more than just that.
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's very weird. But the other thing that they do there during the 2 weeks is they do plays, which is interesting. They'll do like Shakespeare plays. Like they have the members participate in plays and stuff. It's really weird. But one that they did in particular was, or one that they do every year rather, is called the Grove play or the hijinks. Which is serious, and then the low jinks, which is not.
Interesting.
And a writer apparently in 1989 described the low jinks as vigorously lowbrow or trashy. Like just, I'm sure it was just like, yeah, exactly. Just dumbass shit.
Penis jokes.
Exactly. And that every year they create new plays that are written and performed by the club's members. And oftentimes they're sexist towards women, of course.
Shocking.
They said that the mood is reminiscent of high school. And there's no end to the PP and penis jokes, suggesting that these men, advanced in so many other ways, were emotionally arrested sometime during their adolescence. Like that's how they act, essentially. Wow. They act like they've
$75,000 on this play.
On one of the plays, yeah.
Why do they act like that? Like it's not funny. Like how could you, as a fully grown ass dude, be like, oh well, penis joke?
I think boys will always think that's funny. I mean, you think it's funny, don't lie. I still sometimes think that shit's funny.
Come on. Like, they're describing it like they're running around being like, pee-pee jokes.
But they are, literally. They're, like, running through the forest naked. Like, people said...
Okay, I'm not running through the forest naked, okay? I may laugh at, like, a pee-pee joke, but come on,
yeah, it is kind of weird. It's all these really important people. That's what they do when they're together.
Yeah, let's remind ourselves that none of us are the top 1%. Like, if that's what the top one's joking about, then we have concerns.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's wild to think about that they could be doing that.
Yeah.
It really is.
Totally.
Yeah. And I mean, like some of the other plays that they do are just inspired by like mythology, folklore, even religion. But what's interesting is there may be a connection to the Vatican, actually. Apparently,
that would not be shocking.
Yeah. Well, this is just kind of weird. I don't know. So the Grove has a patron saint, the Saint John of Nepomuc. And according to legend, St. John became a saint because of his devotion to preserving the sanctity and secrecy of the confessional. And the secrets he refused to share were those of Queen Johanna of Bohemia. So it makes sense that that he would become a patron of all these people in Bohemian Grove, because they take their privacy very seriously, and they ban all recording devices, obviously. This woman that worked there for the summer said that no cell phones were allowed. Even the workers are not allowed cell phones, obviously. And some of these workers remember seeing cell phones destroyed in front of the offending member if they snuck them into camp. So like they're absolutely like serious about the no cell phone policy, no recording at all.
I bet it's getting harder and harder nowadays. You must have like a drop your phone in the bucket before you come into camp, boys.
Yeah. But one of the like rumors that's out there is like there's prostitutes there. Like we know for sure, like in the early days there definitely were, but like people still believe that there's like a lot of like sex happening at Bohemian Grove too. Like whether it's, you know, straight, gay, or consensual, like whatever they're doing.
There's a lot of people who think that these guys are like closeted and that they leave their wives, and that's why there's no women allowed at night. Yeah. And then they go there.
They go crazy and just do wild shit. Yeah. Yep.
You know, fulfill their actual fantasies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have to like fake their lives.
So I don't know. Maybe they're doing that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, all these guys together for 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's like basically a big sausage fest.
It's a giant release. So yeah, I guess. Jesus. This was kind of interesting, though. That's kind of related to it. But on the $1 bill, if you look really carefully, you got to zoom in really carefully. But there's apparently an image that looks like an owl peeking its head over the edge of the semicircle on the $1 bill. And it does kind of look like an owl a little bit. It's like you can't even see it really unless you like get a microscope and look at it. But it does kind of look like a head of an owl. They snuck it in there.
And then it's like, oh my gosh, yes.
Which makes you think it's like, oh, of course there's an owl there. The Federal Reserve chairman's fucking at Bohemian Grove. Yeah. They're probably like, hey. When they designed the $1 bill, they're like, hey.
Like, put a pyramid on there and an owl. Remind these motherfuckers who owns them.
They're slaves, man. Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's really weird.
It is.
Yeah, the owls can turn their head, allowing them to virtually see in all directions.
Exactly, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are they doing there?
My mom loves owls. I always buy her owl things. And
I love owls too. They're such cool creatures, but now the elite are using them as
I'm
their...
never going to see it again.
Their god they worship.
Well, something's clearly going on there. I mean, I feel like they definitely do a lot of meetings. There's a lot of casual conversations. It's a place to talk about things off the record quietly, you know, and be able to bounce things off of each other, ideas and stuff. I don't think there's any like, you know, official business being done there. But it's a casual place to, you know, make business deals and shit, basically.
Well, if you think about it, it's kind of like a workplace function, right?
Yeah.
You go to a workplace function that's outside of the workplace. It's almost like
they're a big company that runs the world. Yeah. It's like the New World Order's hangout camp.
Yeah.
It's like their big holiday party.
Yeah. It's their work retreat.
Their annual work retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally what it is, where they can all like catch up, get on the same page, say all the shit they wanted to say.
I mean, it's weird. The outfits are weird. It's all very strange. And the fact that so many of these higher up people go to this.
Is it just tradition that's passed on from years and years? I mean, it did start in the 1800s. So it makes sense why they'd be way more ritualistic or whatever, you know. But I don't know. The fact they still do it the same way.
I mean, it's clearly a ritual. No shit. But...
Yeah. But is it like tied to the occult and tied to like this like dark satanic
Are they
thing?
doing magic stuff? Yeah. No, I don't know. That I don't know.
Are they drawing power?
But I think it's
there?
fucking weird that all these people are participating in that. The fact that like George Bush was like sitting in the audience like watching the owl is so weird to me.
Yeah, thinking that they're just watching this thing.
Yeah. Like hanging out, Nixon, Reagan, they're all just chilling.
Or thinking about this like
owl show. Like, what is this shit? If people knew this, if the average voter knew this, they'd be like, what the fuck is this?
But apparently they're like savages, man. Like these former workers that work there said part of the reason why women aren't allowed to like, you know, go anywhere or be anywhere near where stuff is actually happening is because they just desecrate wherever they want. Like they'll just like start peeing like right there in front of you. Like they're literally
like, we're men.
They're whipping their shit out all the time,
men,
right?
Running around with
peeing
beers,
on trees,
making pee-pee jokes.
What the hell? This is the stupidest
It's so
thing.
wild.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
really
so
weird.
wild, man. It's just such a crazy. So who knows what the truth is? I mean, we don't know. It's still secret.
It is.
Still don't know.
Someone make a Facebook page. Raid
Storm Bohemian Grove.
Storm Bohemian Grove. That was the next thing to go viral.
Now that would actually be like a.
That'd be great because
fairly,
it would bring a lot of people into the knowledge on this.
Yeah.
That would be interesting if something like that went viral. Dude, that could actually, that could work.
If enough people showed up to Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, and they did that special run, Naruto run. Everyone ripped me for calling it like Natoro run or something.
Oh my God.
Dude, that's coming up, you guys.
Yeah.
That's coming up. Wait, when is that? That might be
the 20th.
Yeah. Actually, it might be after our next episode. Hang on one second, folks.
Area 51, the storm.
The raid, man. Aren't you going to the raid? I got my tickets already.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are bailing on that.
Really? I'm surprised.
I think a lot of people are realizing.
Dude, someone's going to fucking show up. At least one dumbass is going to show up at Area 51.
Guess who's going to be waiting for him?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be...
The camo dudes.
Yeah. The camo dudes are going to be like, you actually showed up. Well, we got a special place for you.
So it's the 20th. It's a Friday. You know, they made it on a weekend so that you can enjoy your weekend after the raid, you know.
Because you don't
have to go to work the next day or anything. You can recover after
the raid. Sorry I'm late for work. I was out raiding late last night.
Yeah, I got stuck in the lower level of Area 51 over the weekend, man. It was crazy.
Okay, so actually we
Let
do
a couple
have...
aliens out.
We do have one more... Stop. We have one more episode before, so yeah. Cool. But I'm excited. We got to have like some coverage of that.
Yeah.
We should do like a live coverage episode of that.
Live from Area 51.
Dude, I wish we could, but there'll be probably no coverage of it or anything.
No.
What if it's like crazy? What if enough people come that like CNN has to cover it and they're like literally covering this the Area 51 raid? Who knows, dude? 2019's been a crazy ass year. I would not be surprised if it actually ends up being a whole thing.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, guys, you heard it here, folks. Maybe not.
That's my prediction. Maybe not.
Oh my God.
We'll see.
But until then.
Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, iTunes. Follow us on our Instagram as well.
Yes, at Mile High
stream
Podcast.
The intro topics sometimes. So you can watch.
We stream them today.
Us live on Instagram. So
yeah.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there today. Thanks again for listening. Stay safe.
And stay woke.
We'll see you guys next time.